the YouTube stuff because I am
just going live quickly.
Don't tell anyone about that. We must never talk about that. Oh, we're live.
No, don't talk about that. I just wanted to get a shot of Ian's chair in when the advertising isn't properly shown.
The money rolling. Let the money roll in.
He'll be so annoyed that he didn't.
He needs expo. He's really jerky.
Yeah, now the chair's lined up properly, but I just as he turned it up.
Did I not? I didn't have the correct flick of my bottom as I got out of it. Was that what it was?
Where's the mood lighting? It's all bright in your shin.
I know it doesn't look nice bright, does it?
Well, I wanted to start by because that's why I quickly got the name of your channel, so I better share it up. I wanted to start. I should have had this ready. Cadex Vista grounding, is it really an issue? Live stream from Ian today, when really I think what you should do is you watch the live stream is you see that Easter egg there which is hiding underneath the subscribe button as I do that.
Ferrero Rocher.
Watch that disappear. I think that's I think that's you don't need the timeline counter there.
No,
you can just watch
the egg.
Just watch as the egg disappears. But so you created a video about something that shouldn't be an issue anywhere at any time anyway, because people are making an issue of something that isn't an issue. Is that about the size of it?
That is about it. It's out of a product spec actually for a drone, so it's unfair to blame Race Day Quads because Race Day have just put the spec on their page, and I think it's something to do with Mr. Steele. But there's a quad, I can't remember which one it is, but they've said they go on about this earth-in thing on the Vista, and everyone's suddenly gone, "Oh my god, this is a problem," and we're going, "No, okay, it has implications, but it isn't a problem." And Bruce, I don't know if that's the right word you'd agree with, Bruce. You know, there are things either way that you have to take into account. But for 99% of pilots, this doesn't exist. You don't even need to think about it. It's that simple, you know.
But it's always better to run negative Earth than positive Earth.
Yeah. I would rather, because and this is the problem. People keep saying, "Yeah, but what if? What if?" But what if the battery explodes? What if this shorts? What if that shorts? There's always another scenario that it could.
Yeah. Should you run your drone without a meteorite shield? These are the questions Wendy answered.
Well, but now he said that, a positive Earth. It's just made me think. I bet we could create a video where we tell people, no, you must make sure the left-hand side of the frame is positive Earth and the right-hand side is negative Earth. Oh, no, hang on. That's as you're looking at it. Or is it as you're looking from behind?
But then if you rotate it very fast, you'll create a magnetic field from the drone. So it's
a hover all by itself.
I made a lot of money in the 1970s converting positive Earth cars to negative Earth because there was a lot of the old cars were positive Earth. The old 6-volt systems and early 12 volts were positive Earth. And then when car radios came along, transistorized ones especially, they had to be converted to negative Earth. So I used to repolarize the dynamo, the generator and turn the battery around. And
What was the logic behind going with positive Earth, Bruce? That's something I've never looked up. Do you know what I mean?
I think someone tossed a coin. Someone tossed a coin and it came up positive, and they thought, we'll do it that way. That's why when you look at the sign for a battery, that it looks a little bit wrong with the short line and the wide line, at least from my point of view.
So what about things that chew wires, Gary? Have you ever had problems where something might chew a wire?
They're referring to
Rats and children. When
they came on, just before we started, I always only normally put the short wire earpiece in. I couldn't hear anyone. I thought they were just spoofing me, but I realized my son has been watching videos or playing Minecraft and kind of chewed through the lead tonight. But anyway, I shall beat him. It is tomorrow.
It's one of those things that the reality is, if you really care about this stuff and you think it might be a problem for you, then spend 3 hours isolating everything. For 99% of pilots, this is never going to be a problem because there won't be enough of it left once it's gone on fire to know if it was the negative Earth frame anyway.
Speaks the voice of experience.
Well, I find in the Southern Hemisphere that if you use the positive Earth, you get better rolls to the left than the right. I mean, this may be anecdotal.
I tell you what I have been trying today, and quite unsuccessfully, is to have a look at this carbon fiber prop phenomenon, which we know exists, but no one seems to be able to understand.
Oh, what is that then?
Which
I
is
don't know.
the effect of carbon fiber props on radio performance. It's widely reported in almost all mini drone sort of Mavic down territory. Doesn't seem to happen on Phantoms, that people swap to carbon fiber props and it completely messes with the radio performance. And I mean, biblically, can be 20, 30 meters and complete loss of signal. There's been reports of it in FPV, Mavic minis. It's so widely reported, it has to be a thing. But what that thing is, we don't know. Is it that it creates a spinning Faraday cage or spinning metal, because they are conductive. So if in theory the frame is earthed, that means the props are earthed and you're got in rotating Faraday cages. Is it the scatter effect of the signal? We don't know. Now, I've done some testing today with a spectrum analyzer and some signal, and I can see zero effect at all. So I need to take it to the next level now, and I'm trying to find some 5-inch carbon props, actually, Bruce. I can't find any anywhere at the moment. They're not that common. There's too much evidence of it for it not to be a thing, but I can't find anything to back anything up based on what I've seen so far.
Just get ordinary props and wrap them in tin foil. It'll protect them from the satellites as well.
I've got Phantom size full carbons, and that's what I've been testing with. But what I need to do now is test on a mini drone in flight and see what it does. And I've tested it here, vertical and horizontal, with the transmitter behind the prop, full speed, different speeds, and there's no real world effect. There's just no effect on it at all.
So
you've got to wonder how many model helicopters fly with carbon rotors and never have a problem.
Never have a problem. Yeah.
So 3-inch props are for 3G, 4-inch props are for 4G, and 5-inch are for 5G. Is that how it works with radio stuff?
I was going to say, my RC helicopters never gave me any grief at all, and they're turning 80 centimeter carbons, and not a problem at all.
It is. It's. We don't fully understand it. Now, this could be something relating to the plane of the RF. The overall behavior is very poor to almost unusable signal. So take it on the Mavics. It's on OcuSync, just falls apart. It is literally, you'll get 20, 25 meters out, and it will just shut. You just cannot get signal. And it's reported widely over 5, 6, 7 years of use of those aircraft. On FPV, it was the same. Someone was getting a lot more breakup in certain positions of the aircraft. So this gentleman was flying it around his property, and he was using a higher power transmitter, and he was getting worse performance and couldn't understand why. And then it turns out the only difference between the flights was one was plastic, one was carbon fiber props. When he swapped back to plastic, it was perfect again. And it's all over the place. You search for carbon props affecting Mavic signal, there's post upon post upon post about it. But what is the cause? That's the real intriguing bit about this. What is?
I'd like to see where the transmitter and antennas on the TX were. People with folded antennas or whatever. That to me would be a big
it's too common. It's too common for me to think this is people doing something wrong, but we also don't understand it. You could argue on a lot of stuff with the rotor above and the R. In theory, take the Mavic Mark.
It's all below.
If
we don't understand it must be magic.
It must be.
So I don't get this, because if you've got the signal beneath, so basically you're transmitting up to an aircraft generally. Yes. Your transmission is up. So if your antennas are here and here, or here and here, you're underneath. You shouldn't be getting any kind of
reflections.
Effect. Now,
you get reflections though.
That's the wonder. If it's reflection, if it's something,
I reckon it's blowing it off downwind.
Blowing the radio waves.
Yeah, it's blowing it off.
To be honest, right, that's the closest legitimate answer I've got right now.
See, if it's FPV, if you've got an FPV racing drone and you get it at a bank angled like this, and you're stood over here, then the carbon props will shield the antenna a bit, and I can understand that range reduction. Because the aircraft,
Does anyone fly carbon on an FPV racer, though? No one flies carbon on a racing drone.
No, not many people.
No, you don't.
And that's why we don't see it particularly often. there are a lot of people who've been conned into these aftermarket carbon props on Mavics, meant better flight time, all of this nonsense. It doesn't. And they are the same people who generally report big issues with RF. And I've known about it for like 4 or 5 years, but I forgot about it until someone brought it up the other day. And then it was like, I really need to look into that at some point and try and get
We
my
need
head
to
around
talk to the people that investigated Gatwick. They're good at explaining the inexplicable.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I can't talk about that much, but there's more going on with that. That's finding itself. It's going on and off with lunacy. That really is. But I can't see it. I can't see that this really is a thing. I can't see it. I don't know. What's your gut feeling, Bruce?
Well, in theory, there is potential for it to be. There's going to be a Doppler shift caused by the reflected wave. That'll be a slightly different frequency, which produces the ability for intermod products, which could, But most of these modern modulation techniques are quite robust. ODFM has got multiple carriers, and so it has good resistance to that sort of thing. But in theory, there could be something happening that does that. It's just that being not reproducible makes that less likely.
Well, how is Ian going to test for it? That's what I can't think how you're going to test for it other than getting it and
I think he should just connect up a 3-cell LiPo. Connect a 3-cell LiPo to a charger set to 4 cells. That'll reproduce it completely. He's done it before.
Yeah.
What I have done so far is tested an earthed and non-earthed antenna with it on the same horizontal and vertical planes behind, and trying it actually earthing it, Bruce, the motor, and non-earthing to see if there's any effect, and there isn't. I think what I want to do is get a set of full carbon props for an FPV quad, test it visually first of all to go, yes, there is an effect here, and then when I can actually see the effect, look at it on the spectrum analyzer and see what we're physically seeing. It won't take a lot, as Bruce said. If there is a disturbance here, it won't take a dramatic amount to start upsetting things. But there's been all sorts of theories. There's been theories: does spinning carbon generate RF in itself? Does it reflect? I think reflection is the most likely thing here. I think, and it could just be causing.
Yeah, if it was just absorption, you wouldn't get any Doppler shift or anything. It would just be a varying amplitude. So that's not going to cause nearly so much trouble because most of these things are pretty amplitude and sensitive.
Yeah.
Reflective is my thought. And carbon fiber could be, basically, it's conductive. There's technically no reason it couldn't.
Just going to bring up, Ross is asking how to spoof Dji Gear. I will put up a thing here. And that's actually had some extra stuff today. They've found out, they've released, there's a new version of this. You go to a little thing called SES News and you go down here, you'll find out exactly how to do it with an ESP32. Well, that's not going very well like that. So yeah, you can, but I'm not sure that the Ukrainians are jamming enough of the aeroscope stuff. But maybe they are, or maybe we are on their behalf. But yeah, there's all sorts of warfare going on over there with that. Go on, mate.
What does this do then exactly?
Disrupts the aeroscope. You put it up, and it shouts that it's a DJI drone, and you can put in a false GPS location, or you can do all sorts of things, and then just chuck it up and say,
well, that can't be legal. That can't be legal. I mean, what the FCC get onto this just like they did with Hobby King and fine them millions of dollars and take them to court because they haven't paid?
So what you're saying is I could rock up near anywhere and switch this puppy on and just confuse the crap out of people.
Yeah, you could. And it's moving towards a more idiot-friendly.
You don't need a device like that to confuse people.
Yes, that's true. It's very true. But it underlines how easy it is to. There's been a lot of work decoding the OcuSync stuff that's been published today. If you have a look on GitHub, you'll find it. But OcuSync's been properly pulled apart now, and that really is how to do such a thing. So what's all about carbon fiber props?
It's Kevin been posting this today because I've not.
Kevin has been posting it today, and there's a bigger team, and there's some proper grown-ups helping now, proper university grown-ups helping along with this effort. This drone ID throws from a few years ago, and it's just been updated. But Kevin sorted it. Yeah, Kevin at / or D0T / on Twitter is the person to follow. I should. If I was clever, I'd sort that out and get that up here as well. But while we got up here, I might as well jump to this window. This one's come up again today. The chap in Lithuania has got his patent for this, and there's your DR. It's got plastic props, so it'll be all right with his signal. But that is an FPV camera in the nose, and it is to visually try and knock others out the sky. We had a conversation about that years ago. I think a couple of years ago, we said this is one way of doing it, and there it is. There's your one way of doing it if you're an FPV flyer. And this fellow's in Lithuania, so I'm sure he's very well aware that he might have a use case for that coming up soon. Sorry, I'm distracted. I don't know what to say next.
Detachable rotors, they all detach when you crash hard enough.
Yeah, they do. They do. So, hello, what are people saying? Did anyone notice GPS on that Russian that was ripped apart? Yeah, I did notice I thought that the whole Russian thing, the Orlan 10 that was ripped apart, was exactly, we said it last week, it was exactly what I expected it would be. It was the right sort of technology, as it were, for a low-cost drone. I mean, what more can one say? I don't know. So what I did want to ask Ian, while he's looking at other things here, is that these images of DJI handheld cameras, is that all nonsense? Or is that...
It's been around for ages. I'm not shocked at that. There's been three things that were sort of bubbling for like 3 or 4 years. One of them we now have, which is the Ronin 4D. So that's one that was bubbling for 3 or 4 years. This camera, it's basically a Hasselblad X1D, I think it is. It's the same camera. China doesn't have a homegrown camera manufacturer like the rest of the world. The camera manufacturing industry is very much being controlled by the Japanese. So the Sonys, the Panasonic, the Fuji, the Canons. And there isn't major brands in China for it. They have no home native brands out of Exumi, or whichever way they pronounce them. They make a lot of consumer electronics, including drones. So it's not beyond belief that the Chinese government or whoever would like a homegrown brand, and DJI may have been chosen to be that brand. They bought the controlling stake in Hasselblad. They haven't really used it. We've only seen 2 products with that name on. As bizarre as that is, DJI own a large part of the company, yet they've not done a lot with it. So I suspect what they've been doing is sifting through all of the patents, is what they've really been doing, and having a look at what they've got and what they can put together. I think you will see a move with DJI more towards ground-based. You're seeing it already. You're seeing it with the microphones. I'm waiting to order in these new mics. That's a direct competition with Rode. DJI are looking to diversify. They are clearly looking to move, not out of the drone segment, but move around within the drone segment and associated gear. And I think it's natural. They make airborne cameras, so why would they not make ground-based? And I mean proper ground-based, not things like this that I can't even record for 5 minutes without the bloody thing overheating.
I thought they'd solve that.
Apparently, I'm waiting for the case to come. This mythical polymer. But yeah,
they solved it with the case. I didn't realise that.
Apparently, they've solved it with the case. But I'm not shocked. I think, we've got a lot of leaks of the Mini 3. That's coming. We pretty much know everything about it now, other than the price.
Yeah.
And a couple of detailed specs. That's inevitable. That's happening. What's going to be interesting in that is the price. Because my big complaint on the review for the Autel Nano was it was so much more than the DJI. But if DJI now bring a product in that price band as well, what we're then seeing is a creep. For the first time, we're then seeing a creep. And what we may even have is the Mini 2 stay as the lower product. Because I've seen nothing that hints at a basic Mini 3. All I've seen so far is Mini 3 Pro, which makes me wonder if you're going to have the Mini 3 Pro at the top, the Mini 2, and even the Mini SE, which is still being sold. They just rebadged it in the $350 category. But if it is 7, 8, 900, I was just looking then, someone was pricing 7, 8, 9. Where was it? There was some pricing shown just then, which was high. It's going to be, here we go, 730 up to $999, depending on the kit. It's not going to be a drone for every day. And that's a lot of money for a sub 250 gram drone that might not be fully featured. And again, the bit I don't understand, they're cannibalizing their own markets again. Because if they make a model of this at £800, that was basically the price of the A2S or the A2. And then the A2S was like $150 more. So they're almost, again, cannibalizing their own product lines. Perhaps they'll dump the A series now. It might have got to the stage with the Mini is so good. Is there any point running a different product line? Because what you did have was the Mini series, which was overall okay, but didn't have a lot of features that the other drones had, like object tracking and things like that. Then the A had that, the A2S, and then the Mavic 3 was the premium product. It is possible they'll just dump the A, but the A is their most popular drone overall by a long way, looking today. The A2S has been astonishingly popular, looking at the sales numbers.
Well, the new thing looks bloody ugly to me. It reminds me a little bit of the Parrot Anafi AI in ugliness. It seems like things are allowed to get uglier now. And it's never going to stop that. None of them are going to stop the sub 250 grams, or it's windy, off it goes.
Yeah, and that is the problem. And that's funny. I was about to say it. They could replace the A2S with these two models, basically. We don't know if it's going to be 1 inch. I don't think it's 1 inch. There's been talk of it, but I don't think they'll get 1 inch in an ear. But okay, if it's 1/17 inch or sensor, the A2S is still the better buy for most people because of the wind resistance and capability it has overall, and it's not much bigger, is it, Mark? If you look at the A2S compared to the Mini 2, other than the 250 gram thing, there's not a lot in it from size. Is there?
No, size wise, I mean, but I think you're right. If they bring it out with like the air, what's the point in the air versions? You're right. It doesn't make sense. And do they need anti-collision on sub 250 grams? That's because people can't watch where they're flying. The amount of people that don't understand visual line of sight. If you can see it, you don't hit the tree. Top tip.
Well, I don't know. I've seen plenty of trees that I've flown into. I've seen the whole end-to-end accident occurring in front of my very eyes.
But if you can see air or you can see sky between your drone and a tree or a house or anything else, you will not hit the building, however, or tree. If you haven't got that bit of separation, if you can't see the sky, you're heading for trouble.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
You're presuming everyone's flying within visual line of sight.
And this is one of the big things, isn't it? Visual line of sight. People just keep pushing it and pushing it. In the UK, you see all the time people going, "Oh, I flew 2 kilometers," and you're just going like this. You just go, "Oh, God." It's like people just don't grasp basic
and then
stuff.
You've got people like Ian who are saying, "How far can I go with this video transmitter?" Oh.
Yeah, at least Ian does it sensibly because he puts it on one side of the valley and then walks around to the other to get to do his distance checks. You know what I mean? He's doing it the sensible way, but it's just sometimes you just look at some of the stuff on like in the mini forums and you just go, oh, "Come on."
Yeah, but it's got return to home. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, and also wind resistance is an interesting one, as Ian says, because this is fantastic. The Mavic 2 Pro, which is just a bit bigger than the Air, so the Air's just a slice smaller, isn't it? And then you got the Mini, which is even smaller. This thing is just bonkers, to be honest. This wind resistance with this, but my Mini wouldn't stand a cat and nails chance. It really wouldn't. There's a reason to use this on a job versus a Mini. You know,
but I've
this
got
is just
sub 250. I've got sub 250 craft that'll fly in a 50 kilometer an hour, 60 kilometer an hour wind, no problems at all. They're just not GPS controlled. They're little freestyle drones. They fly anytime.
Well, to be honest, the DJI Mini 2 doesn't stop flying. Let's be clear. It doesn't actually stop flying. It just gets moved by the wind. It's all that happens.
The police should get one of those in. The police, they do that.
Get moved by the wind? I don't understand the reference. I don't understand the reference.
Well, haven't we had police drones fly away in strong winds?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah, we have. We have. I don't think we've had anything this week. In fact, I don't think. Oh, yes, I do. That's what I do think. I do think that I have seen an instant report, and I actually have got. Well, I've not seen an instant report, but Mark shared with me an image that has been up on the socials, and it's this image. There it is, of a child hitting a park.
Was the drone all right? The blood can be hard to get off.
Yeah, it was true. Fair enough. But did anything more come out of this, Mark?
No. So I did try to reach out to an operator that spoke to the parent's mum because he thought, you know what, from the commercial side, let's see if we can help them out. And all that I've managed to get out of them is the police are involved, the Air Accident Investigation Board are involved, and the CAA are aware. Now,
I think this is fake because you've got flyer ID, operator ID, and registration that was supposed to solve this, mitigate this risk totally. I mean, are these things not working?
Well, this was in a park, from what I understand. So it'd be interesting to see what the actual outcome is. I believe they may have tracked down the operator. And if it was sub 250, though, that'll be interesting to see how the things pan out with the rules. Because technically, you know, as a commercial operator, I have to check for uninvolved people around me. And there are separation distances that I must keep to. However, if it was sub 250 grams, there is no separation distance, which is, and this proves why it's such a bad thing. This kind of, in my head, is one of those things. But just bear in mind, this is the first one since we've had the new rules in over a year now, and it is the worst I've seen for a long time. You know, it is, and luckily,
everything's dangerous. Yeah, there's a danger to everything. And this is one instance in how many years. And as I mentioned, I posted some links. You know, dogs attack people every day, but you don't have to register dogs in the UK, do you? You don't need the dog operator ID, do you?
We have dog licenses, don't we? You know, we got rid of that.
I don't know.
Black and white, all colour. Yeah,
I don't remember. We used to have the dog license, but I can't remember if it's still valid anymore. But we
still have dogs in public. You don't have to have them can't take them within 30 meters of somebody, especially children. Children are being attacked by dogs all the time. But society lives with that risk. They say we love dogs. Dogs are wonderful companions. We'll accept that level of risk because of the rewards we get from having a dog. And the same has to be done with anything we have. And we get such a lot of benefits from drones. I don't see why you would restrict them on the basis of one incident.
Yeah, I do agree, to be fair. I mean, luckily the child, he's had no stitches, so he hasn't needed stitches for any of those marks. And it was on his hands and it is on his face. Luckily it missed his eyes. And they've used that special medical super glue to close the gaps. He could be scarred, which would be very
Chicks
sad.
love scars, mate. Chicks love scars.
let's not send Bruce to work for the AIB anywhere in the
world. I think it will be just very interesting to see what comes out of it from the AAIB and the CAA and the police. It'll be interesting just to see. You know, we knew at some point someone would get hit. And it's never good when it happens, let's be clear. But it will actually also be interesting to see what the police and the CIA make of this in the end.
Can you buy knives in the UK?
Yes, we can. We don't have a gun crime.
carry
We
them,
have
though.
other crimes.
Yeah. How many people have been stabbed?
Don't go to London.
I know. This is what I mean. This could be blown into
Excellent.
something that it's not. Anyone that wants to monopolize or take this and use it to their advantage to ban drones would try and do so. But we have to fight back with common sense and draw in
Yes, we do.
parallels with other things where we accept levels of risk based on value. And one injury like this, non-fatal, not even probably life-changing injury, over the how many years that we've had these drones operating is a very, very small risk. You're at a greater risk of tripping on the sidewalk and banging your head on the side and being tetraplegic or brain damaged.
I agree. You know, the risks around it all. You see, I wouldn't.
Well, I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, we can talk around this conversation, but I think we'd all agree that it's pretty foolish to operate around children.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I mean. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
Even dogs. Yeah, I mean, when I fly at the park, if there's dogs around, I don't fly near the dogs because dogs chase drones. They do that. And also, I fly at times of the day when there aren't kids around because kids are unpredictable and they're small. They're hard to hit. But they're very small. They're unpredictable. They run out and cause all sorts of issues. And you just can't. Yes. You can't carry enough Kleenex to wipe the butt off your drone if you hit one. It's terrible.
And that brings us. Don't use knife blades on drones. That brings us all the way back around to carbon.
Carbon knives would be the one, wouldn't they? That interfere with your radio. Yeah.
I actually don't like carbon props just because of the BS around how much performance gain you're supposed to get and things like that from. It's just I don't know. Maybe you have a different opinion, Bruce, but I think it's absolutely.
Well, carbon props are the best way to bend motor shafts.
Well, I think the risk of them, for the danger for exactly the box cutter knife going round on your motor is the risk
on petrol motors. I've got a 50cc petrol plane. I would never use a carbon prop on that. Wood is great. Wood is actually, it's frangible and it absorbs a lot of impact and it's lightweight. I would never use a carbon prop when I have to flick it with my hand and it's so big that if I come into contact with it, I'm going to lose important parts of my body, possibly even my man parts.
As less important parts, as you say. So, I don't think the risk is worth the reward of carbon fiber.
Yeah, props. So we had a club member and they've got a big, I think it's a 50, maybe 100cc petrol. And, you got to flick them to get them started. And what he did is he got the back slap. So he didn't go and he went to stop it, but it went on the back and it slapped him right across the hand. And it just opens you up like.
Is that the Will Smith prop?
Yes.
Oh no, that'd make a great meme. But yeah, when you're starting petrol, the guy now always puts one hand behind his back. But carbon fiber props don't have.
Is that the one that comes off because he got it chopped with the prop? He sticks it in his pocket.
Yeah.
But what happens with carbon props? You don't actually get the same kind of profile as much as what you do with plastic. Because if you ever look at a plastic prop, you can see you get a twist in the propeller. You can see there's a twist in it. And it's really nice. And it twists just here really nicely. You don't tend to get it as much in carbon. It tends to be more of a it's not got the curve in it. I'm just trying to see if I've got a prop.
It's not a helical pitch. No. Good carbon props will have a helical pitch to them, a variable pitch down the length, but that is much harder and more expensive to make carbon props. And also balance can be an issue because most of them are hand laid up, so you end up with more carbon on one side than the other. They're a solution looking for a problem in most cases.
I didn't realize they were hand laid up. I didn't realize that. I'm not a huge fan of carbon props at all.
And I'm not a fan.
I see what you did there, Mark. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I'm not. You can't.
They're better for heavy lift. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I know there are use cases, but you really have got to handle them like you've got a craft knife spinning around on your motor. You really do. That's what people don't do.
Just a normal plastic prop. That's what you want.
Well, I had kittens seeing there's a great picture online of some chap showing a trial to a really large delivery drone, and they were both stood inside the car. Okay, it wasn't on, but they could have been back. I don't know, but you should treat it like a live weapon, isn't it? Any propeller should be treated as live. Perhaps a bit different in the electric age, but I'm a bit of I'm just an old stick in the mud, aren't I? You don't stand inside a propeller, whatever the propeller is, because you just don't know.
Yeah, if it's got power to the aircraft, you do not stand near the damn things.
No.
I don't. It's like model helicopters. When you get a hot start on a model helicopter, you've got the carbon blades there. With an IC engine, if you get hot start, you can grab the head because as you start them, you get hot start. You can grab the head and pull it in and hold it, and you just burn out a clutch. With electric, you throw the helicopter away because because those carbon props will not stop for any reason. That motor will just turn and obliterate you. It's electric and carbon and
you run away from that, I suppose. By hot start you mean it's running, and what does that mean?
Immigrate.
Well, a hot start is where you start the aircraft up, the helicopter up, and it literally goes into like high revs. It's like it's got so much fuel in the carb. It's just in the engine, just really hot. It's like it starts like half
throttle linkage has fallen off.
your throttle servo's gone wrong. Some things happened, and it's just call a hot start.
Yeah,
but with with a proper glow engine or petrol, you can just hold the head and pull it into your body. Just hold it and just burn out the clutch, and it smells lovely. But electric, you can't do that because it'll just rip you to bits.
But now it's time for a small interlude from my OnlyFans channel. This is appearing tonight on my OnlyFans channel. There you go.
Oh, that's definitely one to set up. Just
I want to know how much money Bruce has made from his 100,000 views fake helicopter video. Have you had the Rolls Royce
1.3 million views?
Is it 1.3 million views that video? So what have you? How when are you expecting the delivery, Bruce, of the new jet?
Well, I'm just going to have a look now. I look at the dollar thing that it's the analytics I want, isn't it? Let's have a look at analytics. What does it say? Somewhere here it should tell me my estimated revenue from that video was, wait for it. Ooh, hey, that's not bad. Yeah, I'm not telling you now.
No, he's happy now.
It says I made $4,000.
Wow.
Whoa, that's not bad.
That's pretty good for a video. That's I think it was because I don't know why, because the CPM is way higher than I normally get. That's $4. That's like a $3.50 CPM or something, and normally my CPMs are between $1 and $2. So,
because someone said today every 1 million video is going to be worth like 10 to 20 grand, and I was like, no,
no. I'll have a look at one of my other ones, which is like, what have we got here? Like a normal club video. What's the CPM on that? Here's one that's got 10,000 views. And that has earned me $24.
Yeah.
So that gives you a better idea.
I was watching a couple of the computer channels today, and Linus is like 1 million on every video now. Every video is like 1 million views. And I was just thinking, I wonder how much that is now netting. But even if you look at that, Bruce, okay, his CPM is going to be much higher in the computer industry and that side of it. But even though, let's just say it's 10 times higher, it ain't paying the bills alone, is it? You've got to do that every day. Do you know what I mean? For those guys,
a lot of these real high income earners are posting, hundreds of thousands of view videos or million view videos every day. So they're getting probably 5, 6, 7 grand a day. You multiply that over a year, that's a lot of coffee.
It is a lot of coffee.
It's been asked for this stream. I think I daren't open it all up, and my phone's upstairs. I think it's generally around the $1 to $1.5 dollars. Generally that sort of money. Dollar per 1,000 views seems the norm over long. Yeah, it's whatever. It's definitely not my primary income, that's for sure. But I mean, Linus and Co must have a massive expense for the camera gear and everything they use to
money like it's water right now. He is literally spending it like he was talking about this the other day, and he's going all out on everything. And he said it'll either work or it won't. It is how I fund the Vertiport, Mitchell. It is YouTube earnings. Times of me. I can't speak much to this, but I can tell you that some legal documents have crossed my desk that I need to put in front of a lawyer in America
there's some letters about something that's happened involving numbers and waivers and things that I don't really understand. So I've got to sit down with a friendly American lawyer for about 3 weeks, in my case, to really understand what's going on. But those names mentioned there, one of those names may not have been flying legally in these things.
Ars
And not
Technica.
Yeah, Ars Technica, exactly. It's exactly right. And not only them, but several other people as well. And it looks like quite a major oversight. But I've already said too much, and I really do need to sit down and work out what the story is. But there's going to be some unhappy people and some similarly unhappy people in the urban air mobility world. I'll probably part 135 for Google Wing. Oh no, we would have someone that was part of Wing there. I wonder if it's that one. Yeah, but it's not just those delivery flights. It's not. In fact, it's not in particular delivery flights. It's to do with the weight of the. My only clue is if you're below 55 pounds in weight, you'll probably be all right. But if you're above,
don't understand 55 pounds.
It's about 25 kilos, isn't it? I think something like that.
Not even 25. It's
about 20.
It's 20 kilos, isn't it?
Is it 20? Is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it must be
2.25 pounds times 20.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Something like that. Yeah, but
they have this archaic system in the in the USA with pounds. How does that work? Ounces.
Yeah. So Walmart's lost solution is hilarious. Yeah, I don't think any of those things are really doing amazing work.
So what they're saying is we'll deliver you stuff by drone if you live close enough for us to see your house. What's the point?
Do they take a scissor lift? Do they take like one of those big scissor lifts so they can go up nearby, so they can park a kilometre away and get big towers?
But funny enough, having then just discounted it all and said it's all rubbish, we could very much use any of it at the moment. £60. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's more than 55 pounds then. Gosh, we've had big flooding here in South Africa. I think it's 435 people have died and about 150 people are missing at the moment. It's happened over the last little while. Bruce is going to get a little bit of rain. And today there's 150 schools that are cut off because the roads and stuff have gone. And it's not necessarily we need to get books there. But
is it a good idea to be live streaming then?
What's that? Live streaming? Oh no, this guy's awful. But the biggest thing that schools do here, really, in the community, is feeding programs. So the more than ever, those feeding programs are hindered by the fact that they can't get the food to the schools. So this is suddenly an instant, really good use case for delivery drones in an emergency. Obviously not normal times, but so we have a really good use case for it at the minute.
Model boats?
And no, the roads have gone with huge chasms. So it's not that there's streams at the bottom. It's water flowing on the way to streams that isn't normally there. It's just taking big bits of road. So yeah, you're not got to go across a raging river. So it's been pretty interesting in the last couple of weeks here. But yeah, it's how you have a that sort of delivery system on standby, I don't know. Break glass in case of emergency, pull all these boxes out and go to it. I don't know what the solution is, but yeah, I'm ranting again. I'm not even drunk.
It's interesting though with that visual line of sight for delivery. When you look at the costs, because the figures I've seen bandied about for the cost of a drone delivery make it impractical to deliver anything that's not made of gold.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't see the grocery. I don't get the delivering day-to-day groceries use case at all. And to me, it's a vanity thing of the Western world. If you can't walk to a shop or drive to a shop or get the in-store delivery service to deliver it in a van, then why do you need it so quickly? Beats me.
It's going to be warehouse to a collection point. So it'll be from an Amazon warehouse to an Amazon locker that's in a like shopping area, like a bigger complex. That's where it's going to be.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that, you're going from one bulk distribution center to a bulk distribution center. You might as well use a van because you're going to be carrying more than one package to those things. So you just load the van up and you can take, hundreds at a time instead of making individual drone flights.
And I'm actually going to agree with Bruce on this, because what I think will happen, and give it another 10 to 20 years, you will basically have an Amazon locker that's on wheels. So there'll be no driver because it'll become an automated vehicle, and it'll be FedEx or UPS or any of the others. There's no need to have flying drones to people's houses because they're pointless. You'll have an Amazon locker vehicle, and what it'll do is it'll drive around. It'll come outside your house. It'll tell you what time it's coming. We already have that technology. Herms use it. DPD use it. They all use this stuff where they'll text you and say, "Oh, we're coming at this time." It'll ring you as it gets outside your house. You'll have so many minutes to come and get it. If you don't, it'll go to its next one. It can come back to you later because it'll just drive around, stopping. You put your code in, you get your box, or you scan the QR code, but it will literally be a Mercedes-style Sprinter van, for example, that'll just drive around and you'll just collect from that. And that's what's going to happen. That's the better way. You won't need an aircraft that's regulated, because aircraft regulations are a pain in the neck. You won't have to have a certified aircraft because they're expensive. So, you've got to have a van regardless. So it's going to have an MOT anyway. That's normal expenditure. It'll be electric, so it'll be cheap to run. And it just won't have the driver in it eventually. It might
just
not
have a dog to stop people hijacking it.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll have QR
all
code.
airliners.
Yeah. And the other thing is as well, of course, if it doesn't fly, it means it won't be affected by the weather. So when we have snow and rain and heavy winds, the van still drive down the road because it won't care.
Yeah.
And the regulatory overhead will be much lower. Look, you can have a self-driving Tesla on the road these days without any necessary endorsement on your license or anything.
Without any seeming, regulatory or very little regulatory oversight. Yeah, it's and the other thing, if I was slight ranty head again from me, is there were no rescue helicopters available in our province at all for on the days, and to fly a drone, of course, is fantastically difficult for people doing search and rescue tasks because of regulations. It's just ridiculous. There was nothing in the sky, and people were afraid to fly their drones. Of course, it may have happened, but it could have happened allegedly. But it could have happened in a far more organised way, and we can't have in this day and age, if there's an emergency, ground them because of the bloody regulator says so. It's ridiculous. Get them airborne and then have a proper joined up system. If you're creating aerial imagery, get it into some central point and have some semblance of control over what you're sensing and looking at and things like that.
So hang on, the helicopters can't fly. They're not in the air.
No, there weren't any to come.
Right. So there's no helicopters that can come to do the help. So the emergency services haven't got a clue what's going on around the area. However, if they had a central point where drone pilots could have sent them the information, they could have really helped.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it happened, and there was. Of course it happened. And there was also deliveries, underslung loads of food. So there was a group of people stuck on a causeway where everything collapsed all around them, and they sent food out to them. But, it's just in a proper definite time of emergency, you need to start leveraging this superpower that you suddenly have a little bit better than just saying no.
You can't. Just saying no is... That's putting people's lives at risk by just saying no. That is literally saying, you don't matter. We don't care about you. We could help you, but actually, we can't do that because that means they have to do something sensible. We can't have that happen.
Yeah, but from a regulatory and bureaucratic perspective, no is always the safest answer.
It is. You're right. Sadly, you're spot on right. It is.
Don't get me started about regulation.
Oh, they're in yellow. They must be serious regulations. Yeah, there must be very serious regulations. I mean, one skip away from red. What's this oversight report? Oh, that looks very dull. Very dull. I've just remembered the power's going to go out here shortly. So, again, due to the flooding, and we're having our load shedding, we're having 4 2.5 hour a day power cuts. So our first one for tomorrow starts at midnight, which is soon to hear. So before we go, did anyone else see anything else? We've got sort of 10 minutes.
That's not mine, by the way. That oversight report's
not oversight of you, not of you. Okay. What else have we seen that's caught everyone's eye this week? Oh, I foresee Chris was in the comments, and I've seen his new build video. His new platform looks very groovy indeed, as ever. So if you haven't followed Chris' channel, look for iForce 2Ds in the comments and have a look at his channel. There's some really great stuff he builds. And occasionally takes it down for Bruce to criticize. But we haven't seen that for a while, have we?
Hang on. Has Ian managed to piss off anyone this week?
Has he managed to not piss off anyone? It's a better question.
No, I think I treaded lightly this week, apart from upsetting everyone in the FPV community. But
well, as we know, it's a very small community, so that's hardly anyone. So that's fine.
Yeah, no. The DJI information thing was a bit of a mess earlier in the week, but that is what it is. Unfortunately, people need to understand that rumors are rumors, and people are going to stop getting bent out of shape.
Fleetwood Mac, great band.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. So many album sales.
Tango in the
Tango in the Night.
Tango in the Night.
That's the later one. That's
the later one. Yeah.
For you youngsters,
the best one. 1979. 79.
So boring.
But yeah, that this week. There's been a lot of something's happening, but the problem is people get the info got put out as a genuine the price cut on DJI. There's a price cut on a lot of DJI products, Louis. I wonder why that is. I wonder why there would be a sale right now on things like the Mini 2 and stuff that you might think might be replaced. There is more coming. There is without doubt more coming, but there's always more coming. The question is, actually, this is a question we haven't answered yet. Will it be what the community wants? Because if the DJI FPV system does become more important to DJI, we could actually end up with something far more restrictive than we have today, because it becomes part of their more mainstream product cycle. And you then are in the territory of, could it have remote ID? Could it have other functionality? You know, the current FPV system was very much, I still think it was fundamentally a test bed for what they developed. But I do think they are looking at it a lot more seriously, as they are looking at many markets. And that doesn't necessarily mean what you're going to get is going to be everything you want. Because if you look at DJI's history, they traditionally take away features as a product gets older and dumb it down. They traditionally get simpler, easier to use, less functionality for the hardcore users.
Just like Bruce.
Exactly like me.
It's the same with the Phantom. You know, the Phantom 2, you could adjust the settings on the NASA, the Phantom 1, the Phantom 2. Now, look, you can't adjust anything. So the problem with the FPV community is they don't fully understand DJI as many of us who've been around this a long time do. And sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, because a new system may come with a new barrier.
Yeah, the existing system may have improved its value. It may be worth more because if they bring in a remote ID, and I mean, the thing is that the existing FPV system works so well, how are they going to improve it? I mean, the latency is low enough for most people. The quality of the image is great. There might be incremental changes, but it's not enough for someone to throw away all their existing version 1, 2 gear to get version 3 if there's no backwards compatibility.
Yeah. The only thing they might do is force you if you can't get hardware. And they've done that before. Sorry, man.
It reminds me of a Mavic 3 release where you get a brand new shiny drone, can't do half the stuff the old one used to do.
Yeah. And that's like that. They have a long history of doing that. They have a long history of protecting you from yourself. And I think that is the problem they face when they become a consumer electronics company. Because if you start treating drones like a television, then, you know, a TV allows you to turn it on, turn it off, and adjust the colors, and it has a reset button. Get any of it wrong, hit reset. The drone is still far more complicated, and they've had to try and eke out the liability, eke out the problems users create themselves. A classic of that was CSC in the air, control stick command. To do that maneuver, you have to put both sticks to the bottom inner corners for 2 seconds. You are basically flying like a crazy chimp to do that, yet people still did it in flight. So they had to take that away. And they're always aiming for the lowest common denominator. That's the problem, isn't it, with ready-to-fly products? And the same could be said with FPV. We have to be careful.
I'm just topping. Go on, mate.
I've just got something to quickly send you. And it's to do with the incident to do with the young gentleman earlier. Yeah. And it looks like we might have just learned something.
Oh. And how are you sending me this?
This is like a Bardwell stream now.
So this will be on Facebook. It'll be on Facebook Messenger, Gary.
All right.
Does he know his Facebook password?
No.
Yeah, what's Facebook?
Facebook. Isn't it?
Facebook, yeah.
Meta? Don't you mean Meta?
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to say things like join us on Facebook for I'll share it. Yeah, we've got there isn't this US News Facebook thing.
I would never bother. Facebook.
So
yeah.
The young lad,
like LinkedIn for children.
So apparently the young lad that we showed earlier, there's a bit of a story now. So I've just sent Gary a link to a GoFundMe page.
Yeah, I'm looking for
it. But this has some really interesting information.
All right, so let's put it in here. Yeah, it'll be with us in a second. Have we got enough
Tell
time?
us all, Mark. We're dying to know.
So it happened at 4 p.m. on a Saturday, the 16th of April. So it was a 3-year-old. The young lad was playing. I'll leave his name out of it. In Welfare Park. And if you can read the text, so what's really interesting is when a drone operator flew his drone close around 10 young children. Now it says to make them chase it. We don't know if that's how that works out, but apparently the drone flew within reach of the young lad, and being inquisitive little lad, he reached out to grab it, cutting his fingers. So it looks like he sadly the kid reached out to grab the drone, which is a bit. It's just there in the text there. If you can just see.
As I said, kids are unpredictable. You got to stay well away from them.
You have got to stay away from kids. They are so unpredictable.
What we don't know,
Karens are the same.
You've got to take into account this could have even been the parent or anyone else. That this is the bit we don't know, isn't it? Because you often find with these things, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
Interesting that the word drone operator is used there. Drone operator, that's a word from our world, isn't it?
This is a funding thing set up by a drone pilot.
Yeah.
Is it? From another drone?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, no doubt time will out on that one.
But it gives a little bit more detail on what actually happened as well, which we didn't have any clue at all before.
Yeah.
But it looks like the child reached up to grab the drone. So we now know it wasn't the drone that hit him. It was something else that.
Yeah, I don't think we can
It's
attribute
still
any blame to a small child.
Still great.
It's
Still
kids are
great. You
curious.
can't blame anyone.
yeah, it's and Geeks is saying, here we are. Let me put that up before we go. A Discord server. Yeah. Oh, here's Louis. Louis is going to join us for the last 45
He's on fire.
seconds.
Louis is on fire. Quick. Get Louis on fire.
45 seconds to go before
Come on.
my power goes. Mind you guys can keep going. I just don't know how it'll switch off.
I was
be gone.
listening to the latest developments that Mark found out, but isn't it forbidden to fly a drone within 50 meters of people?
Not if it's sub
Not sub
250.
250.
Small kids are no longer people.
Not sub 250.
And it depends if they are under your control, and that's going to be the thing. If this was a
Kids are
parent
never
or
under
a
control.
friend
No.
of a drone, this is where it all gets a little bit messy. Was this someone with a family member flying around the park with the kids there, taking footage, and next minute something goes wrong?
As Geek says, it's
sub 250 grams. There's no separation distance.
Surely common sense takes over. Then even where is it? Even this thing will work if I flew it in straight into my eye. Surely common sense comes into play.
We know common sense doesn't exist.
True.
Prop guards.
It's not common anymore. Prop guards. Yeah. Well, whoever that was shouldn't have been doing it. It was reckless, and there will be laws on the books that will cover that sort of thing.
Doesn't it make a joke of things, as Brenda's been pointing out with the new DJI Mini 3? It's a one class without prop guards, but if you make it safer by putting prop guards on, it then becomes a more dangerous craft according to regulations. Regulators need to be lined up and shot.
They do.
Yeah, what is Louis playing with? That's very true, Peppermint. What
that is the Autel Smart Controller. That is for the Dragonfish.
Come on, I don't have 100k to play around with a Dragonfish. No, I was just doing the latest firmware updates.
Come out today,
didn't he? Because he's stolen it. That's why he's stolen Dragonfish. He doesn't have the money for it, baby. Steal one.
He gets other people's money to use it, but
no, wrong. Personal purchase.
It is interesting, Bruce, isn't it, on that? Because they've said it comes out at 246,
245. I think they've got on it.
For 5 grams. You're not going to get prop guards for 5 grams, are you?
Well, this is the thing, though, that they don't define how a prop guard must simply. It doesn't actually say you have to use prop guards in America. It says that the props may not be able to encounter flesh or whatever to cause lacerations. But how much pressure are you going to apply before the prop guards deform enough for the props to hit somebody? There's no certification. There's no actual specified forces or whatever. So you could have some made of damn candy floss and use that. That's a prop guard, but don't push it because you'll still touch the props. Unless you're going to have certification requirements, it's kind of it's worthless.
I'll say, look, you guys can keep talking. I'll just say goodbye, just in case.
How will you shut the stream down?
I don't know. That's what I thought.
This could be a 24-hour stream.
All right. Well, I better go because we are now 2 minutes past where it's going. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Louis, thanks for coming for the last few minutes. Look after yourselves, everyone. See you next week. Cheers, chaps. Bye. Cheers, everyone. Bye.